1 hour late today, but we had some important business to take care of. And of course, with that, I had to adjust the starting time here. And plus, you know what? It might not be a bad idea to tinker around with start times here, because what I have found on a pretty consistent basis is people tend to find me and they tend to find the economic report. I will tend to tinker around with these start times here, usually 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we may eventually tinker around with maybe even trying an afternoon version of the show. But I'm glad you're here, and let's go ahead and update a couple of really our top stories today, maybe talk about those, and of course, maybe, just maybe, go into the next portion of this. Maybe we'll start off with gold spot price today. Gold is currently trading at $3,333. This is according to kitco.com. So it's worthy of checking out. And of course, if you take a look at the gold prices here, and this is, let's take a look at the 5-day average. All right, so this is down 5-day. It's a month. It's down. The all-time high, I think, was right around $3,400. So just saying, 33.33, not a bad chunk of change for 1 ounce of gold. We can go ahead and go one step further, talk about silver prices here, because it's worth following as well. Silver prices, I'm going to do a quick chart here. Take a look and throw this out here. That's gold. We're going to flip this out and say silver, S-I-L-V-E-R, and punch this thing on in. And silver prices, we're taking a look at. Welcome to the Economic Report. I am Brian here, and of course, silver, we're looking at $37.91 an ounce, which is pretty powerful. And with 37 bucks an ounce, boy, I'm ready to say this is probably at a 5-year high. It's got to be really, really close. It certainly is. I went this out to like 5 years. So we're talking silver prices. Holy cow! It's over. It spiked about 30 bucks an ounce, but now it's up to $37 an ounce, which is a pretty significant premium. Not only is there a precious metals value to silver, but also I'll throw out the idea that on top of everything else, silver really does have a commercial value to it as well. Hey, welcome to the Economic Report. I'm Brian. All right, how are you today? Hello to you, Julio. Welcome to the Economic Report, and we're going ahead. We're checking gold and silver prices first. I just wanted to throw those out there before we get to our other top stories that we're covering, but I'm glad to have you here. If you think somebody else should be here at the Economic Report, go ahead and feel free to invite them. I do respond to comments that are left inside of the chat box. Well, I'll take that back. I will respond to good comments, or maybe appropriate comments, because every now and then you've got a little bit of a stinker that will make a problem that I'll completely ignore. But I try to keep things as even-keeled and as politically correct as possible without going off the rails. But sure enough, we hit gold at 3,333 per ounce. Silver's on a nice run right now. We're talking at 37.92 per ounce. And by the way, if you are new to this, you can actually still find silver coins in circulation. I know the vast majority of us are using credit cards these days, but check it out. If you have silver, you look for the date. The key date is 1964 and back, and so every now and then you get some pocket change back. You go ahead and take a quick scan. If you have a coin from 1964 and back, that means you've got something of silver. Hi guys, welcome here as well. This is Brian at the Economic Report. Cheers, a cup of coffee to you. Good stuff here. And of course, a new subscriber nonetheless. Well, now we're talking. Thank you very much. Hi guys, I appreciate that. You are amazing. So we hit gold prices, we hit silver prices, and well, let's go ahead and talk about the flavor of the week, or maybe the flavor of the month, which is Bitcoin. Bitcoin trading at $118,000 per coin. Now, that's pretty outrageous, and of course, It is not the all-time high, but boy, oh boy, one Bitcoin at $118 per ounce, really kind of limited, close to 119. So maybe see some additional movement here. There'll be some factors behind this and maybe push it to an all-time high, because I think when it moves, it's going to move really, really quick. Or there could be a tremendous, once again, a tremendous pullback as Bitcoin has done more than one time. If I were to go ahead and throw this out there for you, because I do think some of you will find this particularly interesting, the fact is that this thing has, well, the potato. Welcome, potato. Welcome to the economic report. Go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe. What about the stocks for Apple? We'll go ahead and throw that out there for you because you subscribed. We'll go the extra mile for you. And go Apple trading at their ticker symbol. Remember their ticker symbol? I think it's AAPL, maybe. There it is. The stock ticker. We're talking about 210.71 per ounce. I'm sorry, per share right now. And of course, if we were to take a look here, it's 52-week high trading at about 260, 52-week low about 169. So just throwing that out there for you. It's well off its low, but definitely not at its high as well. But of course, these are some things here just to pay attention to, and maybe I could throw this out there to you. Now that you've liked and now that you've subscribed, you'll know that I do the lives probably 3, 4, sometimes 5 times per week, depending on what the news cycle looks like. But you'll notice on my thumbnail, and the thumbnail was a ton of fun to put together, I have Big Bird on the thumbnail, and you'll say, wow, that's kind of crazy stuff. Why Big Bird? Big Bird's for little kids, but Big Bird is an iconic character, and everybody remembers Big Bird from their childhood, right? Up until about kindergarten, Big Bird is like super cool, and it just so happens Big Bird is probably the key character in the Sesame Street broadcast. Why do I throw that out there to you? Well, as part of these Doge cuts that are going on, it's super, super interesting to pay attention to how the funding works. And of course, last night, the U.S. Senate passed a bill that was going to take all these Doge cuts that are being, thrown out there, and they're going to put those into a law. So those effects of the Doge cuts are actually put into effect, including, yes, Big Bird getting his feathers cut a little bit. Now, of course, Big Bird is part of NPR, and NPR has gotten a bad rap, and maybe to an extent deservedly so, because they tend to present news not necessarily in a very fair, balanced, and equal way. And as a result, you have some people here that are looking to get even with NPR, and part of the NPR funding, well, happen to deal with money for, yes, believe it or not, Sesame Street. So we'll see if some private funding sources come up, because I think that people will continue to support Big Bird, will continue to support Sesame Street because it's good for kids. And what this has always shown up, and it's shown up on public broadcast system, which I think also is a really super powerful way to reach out. I can remember as a kid, and I know I'm talking about a few years ago now, but I can definitely remember Sesame Street being an integral part of, growing up, listening to Sesame Street music, Sesame Street records. Yes, back to record players, but you get the point. And the fact is that this is kid-friendly materials, and we also need to always make sure we're looking out for the kids in our society and our culture, because one day they're going to be running the country. Super powerful thing to take into consideration. And once again, my name is Brian here at the Economic Report. Go ahead, hit subscribe, hit like, and drop your comments here in chat. I do respond to comments there because part of the reason is I want to be as engaging as a host as possible while we're having this. Thank you for that like. You are amazing. And of course, Victor, glad to have you here, Victor. I'm back. Amen to that. Glad to have you back, Victor. What's happening with Iran and Israel? Well, it appears as though there is, dare we say, a thawing period right now that both sides are probably in the process of getting a little bit of a reprieve and marking, well, where do we go from here, right? And of course, if you know anything about Israel, Israel's ready to go. I mean, they are ready to go for anything to save their national security. And of course, Iran, at the other hand, they've continually been an instigator in the Middle East, and I'm sure they're rethinking their plan. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see Iran come out with a different attitude. Maybe that'd be one of peace and cooperation, because Iran really is not just a problem to Israel, but they really are extremely unstable to the entire Middle East. So I want to make sure that you're aware of that. And it's not the people. The Iranian people are pretty amazing people with an amazing culture. I'd really say that the government of Iran has been a real troublemaker since back, geez, probably about 1979 or so, when the Shah was overthrown, and they went ahead and put in a theocracy, as much less of a democracy or autocracy, whatever they had going prior to that. But Victor, thank you very much. Great question here. And so with that, let's go ahead and fire on to the next part of the show, which deals with Jerome Powell, who is the federal chairman. And of course, the federal chairman is, one of his key roles is setting interest rates, right? Now, of course, the president of the United States, Trump, appoints who the Federal Reserve chairman is. And he was originally appointed by Trump and then renewed by Biden. And now this guy's supposed to be independent of political influence. And why is that so critical? We throw this out that being critical of of political influence, the fact is that you don't want anybody really screwing up the economy. When you're really getting clear about that, that means when it talks about interest rates and how loaning money works, he's trying to make sure that we keep inflation in check. And if you make cheap money available, people are going to go out and borrow. And of course, part of what we're in right now is we're trying to tamp down inflation, right? I'll throw this out there to you because it's kind of a scary thought. A dollar from 2019, yes, a paper dollar, has the buying power of 80 cents in 2025. That's inflation working. It means the cost of everything went up, but likewise, the buying power of that dollar has gone down tremendously, like by 20% over a 6-year period of time. And so what Jerome Powell's trying to do is be super vigilant of what we're really doing with economic policy here and loan policies for the Fed. And the fact is, the president knows that the United States has a pretty significant amount of U.S. debt that needs to be refinanced, and he's looking for a cheaper alternative and maybe a better financing rate to, well, save the country a little bit more money. But of course, the checks and balances system is put in to an extent to become super mindful that you can't have a concentration of power in one person, right? That's part of the genius of the U.S. Government, that you don't want a person who controls the courts, controls the legislature, controls the executive branch, and then starts controlling the Federal Reserve, if that makes any sense. And that's really part of why these separations exist, and maybe equally as important, it's part of the reason why the president's influence, and sometimes undue influence, makes great headlines, but it's not good for America to have a concentration of power in anybody, because it usually doesn't end real well, and there's a lot of history that will tell you the exact same thing. But I'm Brian here at the Economic Report, and I'm so glad you guys have joined me. And the fact is that I want to remember, go ahead, I'm going to be on this show for like another 4 to 5 minutes. So if you want to invite anybody else here, or if you've not liked or subscribed yet, please feel free to do so, because we are going to be covering our next story here. The next story deals with diamonds are forever. Now, I've got to tell you something, that a diamond has an intrinsic value to it, right? They are mined, they are cut, and they are turned into something, a piece of beauty, right? Oftentimes, a wedding ring, for instance, has a diamond in it. And why that diamond is so critically important, it symbolizes a stone, but that stone lasts forever, right? Like the love, the commitment inside of a wedding ceremony is okay. Gotcha. We'll catch you later. Thanks for joining me, though. You are amazing. And thank you for the subscribe today because I appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll be by tomorrow because I will try to go live again tomorrow at the same time. But getting back to diamonds, I just want to make sure that we're aware diamonds really do symbolize a foreverness of a marriage, right? And it's always expected for the man here to go out and purchase a diamond for, or the woman he's going to marry. Take care, Victor. And with that, uh, well, these diamonds are now synthetically produced. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Synthetically produced means you could produce a diamond inside of a factory and it would look perfect, right? But is it real? And the fact of the matter is, it's not a real diamond. The diamond my wife has on her ring is something that it took me a lot of time and a lot of energy to go out and earn those monies. But more importantly, it was done out of a place of love and care and concern, and maybe not completely understanding what a marriage was going to represent, but my ongoing commitment forever to that woman, right? And so with that, uh, I gave her a wedding ring, and I wanted to make sure that that was something that lasted forever. And now in 2025, let's face it, you can actually buy fake synthetic diamonds, and it's not a cut against those, but just understanding what was involved in making that diamond purchase, uh, you know, 25 plus years ago, you kind of get a better idea. So the business of mining diamonds really is kind of under a bit of scrutiny right now. I think a lot of them are mined in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, the cutting process and of course, the diamond business um, has a question mark next to it. Can you, or is it okay to buy a synthetic diamond, right? So there's a company named De Beers, and they really do control a good portion of the diamond industry on the planet. And of course, that cartel, and much like that diamond trade is a cartel. Well, now you've got a bigger picture here as to what's happening and how their stranglehold on diamonds is possibly coming to an end. Just a thing to throw out there into consideration. So, of course, today we've covered some really super important topics. We went from gold prices to silver prices. We went ahead and took a look at Bitcoin, and then we got into our top stories. And of course, our top stories dealt with Big Bird and NPR and the government cuts. Of course, number two, we spoke about Jerome Powell, and of course, the fact that there's a lot of pressure on Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, which might not really help us with inflation very well. And of course, the third and final thing was about diamonds. But I've been so blessed today. You guys have been absolutely wonderful, hitting likes and hitting subscribes and bringing new people into this channel and sharing. I really appreciate you being here and spending a little bit of time with me today on this Thursday. Hey, folks, don't forget to be awesome. Take care of yourself. And remember, the biggest battle you fight is the one between your ears. I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great day, and thanks for joining me.